Alright, what's going on, guys, and welcome back. So today we're going to be talking about base abilities, or I guess you could say more accurately defined as work suitability in Palworld. Now, there are several different kinds of work suitability. There's kindling, watering, planting, generating electricity, handiwork, gathering, lumbering, mining, medicine production, cooling, transporting, and farming, and we're going to briefly discuss each of them. So, we are on my breeding base here. I have a base specifically dedicated to breeding. Yes, I know. And also, I want to note something, guys. You don't have to be using every single type of work suitability to have a self-sustained base. Made a video on this, but there's two main ways to self-sustain. You could have a grazing base that basically self-sustains with grazing and transporting, or you can have one with farming. And basically the idea is these guys get items, and then they get transported into the feed box, and then the pals feed themselves. So when it comes to grazing, you can see I got the bee guard here. It will graze in one of these stables, and that basically just means they'll drop their usual drops, but on the farm itself. So the bee will drop honey, chicken will drop eggs, and cows will drop milk. Very self-explanatory. When it comes to kindling, that's another pretty self-explanatory thing. If you have a cooking pot, or if you have a furnace, which I don't have on the breeding base here, and you decide to make something, a fire type that has the kindling ability can, make it for you. Very simple. Handiwork is a very simple thing as well. I don't really have much going on here, but any pal with the handiwork ability, like let's say nobody that, oh, the quiver in here, if I decide to get him to make something on, if I want him to make a pal sphere, he'll do it for me. They just have to have the ability to do that. This will work for conveyor belts and stuff like that as well. When it comes to farming elements, right? Not the grazing kind. When it comes to making like crops and stuff for your base, seeding and harvesting are required for these, right? So if you have a pal that can, and we can go back over to the thing here, a pal that can plant, they'll plant seeds. If you have a pal that can harvest, they'll harvest. It's very simple. Gathering is the more accurate one here. Gathering is the one with the little leaf. And essentially, if you have pals of those, you can get them to the farm. Watering will let you water